Time now is 6:30. Call this meeting to order. Land Natural Resource Cultural Preservation Committee. Today is October 10th, 2023. Invocation, I'd like to ask Representative Harjo if you'd offer that first this evening.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we always, when we come together, we're always thankful that, those who are coming to the meeting, that we've made it here safely. Father, we just ask that as we go into this meeting over the nation, that decisions that are made and the explanations that come forward, that not only do we learn, things that are going to help our tribe, but Father, that we also go in a way that we help support the tribe, to begin and continue its progression. Father, we just ask that you just watch over us as we go through this meeting, and then later on when we depart, we ask that your hand of safety be upon us. But we always give you thanks and for allowing us to do these great things for our people. In your precious and holy name we do pray. Amen.
Next we have is roll call Legislative Clerk Tracy Knobloch.
Joseph Hicks.
Here.
Charles McHenry.
Here.
Galen Cloud.
Here.
Gerald Proctor.
Here.
Nelson Harjo.
Here.
Chairman, you have 5 present, 0 absent.
5 present, 0 absent, constitutes a quorum, and the business conducted this evening will be official. Next we have is approval of minutes for September 12th, 2023.
Here.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes with any necessary changes.
Motion been made to approve the minutes by Representative McHenry with any necessary changes, seconded by Representative Hicks. Roll call.
Second by Joe. Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Nelson Harjo.
Yes.
Galen Cloud.
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. Those minutes have been approved. Down to order of business. First item we have is TR 23-102, a tribe resolution of Muscogee Creek Nation authorizing Principal Chief to execute a publishing agreement between the Muscogee Creek Nation and Springer Nature for publication of authors' contributions in collected work provisionally titled COVID-19 in Indian Country. Sponsors Galen Cloud.
Chair, make a motion to adopt.
Motion for due pass by Representative Cloud.
Second.
Seconded by Representative Hicks. Discussion. Yes, Ms. Raylene.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairman. This legislation is about a contract with a publisher company who has said that we had made a request to change the sovereign immunity clause, and they said they wouldn't be able to. They want to keep their jurisdiction in Switzerland. They're an international publishing company that does business with other sovereigns, and pretty much had said they couldn't change the language and asked if we'd be willing to change the language on our end, or I guess agree to waive our sovereign immunity. And so that's the main reason we're here, is to get a permission for that. But want to explain a little bit more about why we were having the contract and what this project is about. So we got contacted by, there are 20 Native Indigenous Studies professors across the United States, and they're writing this book called COVID-19 in Indian Country. And they reached out because they heard about the project we did here at the Nation. We did a 2-year oral history project under the Mellon Grant, and we interviewed 40 members, citizens of the tribe, and asked them about their experience with COVID-19. And we have transcripts of those interviews. They're actually available online in our digital archive now. But they liked our project and asked if we wanted to contribute to this book about COVID-19 in Indian Country and to write about the Creek Nation response and the impact we saw for COVID-19. And so we thought it was a good idea, but at the time didn't realize we would need to get all these permissions. And so we have written the chapter, it's over 30 pages, and we're kind of in a review process, but in order for it to be accepted, we would have to sign this agreement with the publisher. And I'll have Midge explain a little bit more about the book, but I do want to mention that we will not receive any proceeds or make any money off of this book. It's an educational book that'll be issued to students who study Indigenous Studies curriculum, and I believe there are 2 co-editors, so 22 people who will be a part of the book and a part of different chapters, and they will receive $815. That's it, and really the expenses of the printing of the book and its distribution are all on the publisher, and really is not a book that's made to garnish a lot of profit or revenue. And so the authors have also, or the editors, the 2 editors who will receive that $815, said that they will donate it to a nonprofit or a cause that the authors pick. So it's definitely not something that we're trying to make money off of. But I want to allow Midge. That's okay.
Jay Mado for the opportunity to come and share a little bit about this project and why we need your help going forward with this project. And so, as Raylene has already shared, I spent 2 years doing an oral history project with Muskogee people about their experiences with COVID-19. And I just want to say I'm very proud of those folks who came forward to participate in this project. And Representative Proctor, 2 of your children were a part of the project. I thoroughly enjoyed working with them. They did a fantastic job. And these oral histories are available now in our Muskogee Creek Nation National Library and Archives oral history collection. And so we have made these accessible to the public so that whoever wants to engage with these oral histories can. They are extremely educational. To listen to one of these oral histories is, for me, a deeply emotional experience, not just an intellectual experience. All of these folks came forward and very openly shared their experiences with COVID-19. And so, as Raylene shared, we were invited to be a part of this edited volume book project that focuses on COVID-19 in Indian country. We were asked to write a chapter. And I will say, of all the folks who are participating in this book project, we are the only tribal nation that was invited to be a part of this project. And so I think that's something that we should all be very proud of. And it is an opportunity for us not only to take these oral histories that we've gathered and do something with them, but it's an opportunity to allow people outside of the Muskogee Nation to hear about our experiences with COVID-19, to hear about these experiences through the Muskogee voice. And so I want to read something, if you'll indulge me here. This is just a brief, it's a paragraph, a brief description of the book project itself and why we're doing this. As the COVID-19 pandemic struck peoples throughout the world, Native American communities were disproportionately devastated by the disease. The death rates and suffering of Indigenous people attracted some media attention, and health experts and scholars reaffirmed what many Native Americans already knew and lived on a daily basis: the inequalities, disparities, and injustices of being historically marginalized peoples. After surviving centuries of genocide, dispossession, and removal, COVID-19 perpetuated their intergenerational trauma. Human inactions and colonization have exacerbated the effects of natural disasters on Native Americans throughout history, as has been the case with COVID-19. This proposed edited volume seeks to tell these stories of Native Americans facing the matrix of disease and colonialism in the COVID-19 pandemic years since 2020, as well as highlighting the ways that Indigenous people have survived, innovated, fought, and thrived in such moments of catastrophe through time. Contributors address the following questions: what Native American memories and experiences have contextualized their responses to COVID-19? What kinds of intergenerational knowledge and ties have sustained Indigenous communities during the pandemic. This edited volume compiles scholarly and creative pieces, including short stories, visual art, and academic and personal narratives that feature Indigenous perspectives and experiences of COVID-19 in the United States. So that was actually written by one of the co-editors of the book, and I think that should give you a pretty good idea of where we're going with this book. And so for our part, our chapter, again, as Raylyn has shared, what we've done is we have pulled from these oral histories, really verbatim excerpts from these oral histories, and then contextualized a narrative around these oral histories. Our chapter is titled The 21st Century Pandemic in Indian Country, The Resilience of the Muskogee Creek Nation Against COVID-19. And so, you know, going back to the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, when the nation shut down and sent most of us home, I was sitting at home watching the news constantly, you know, because that information was there. The media was full-fledged, reporting what was happening with COVID-19 in this country and around the world. And I was sitting there one day and I realized that I was hearing all these things about COVID-19 and what was happening around the world in the United States, but I wasn't hearing about what was happening in Indian country to the people in those places. And so that's really what sparked this idea to do the Oral History Project in the first place, because our experiences were being left out. People weren't hearing these things. And Raylyn and I, you know, talked about it and agreed that we should do the project. And then when we had this second opportunity to do this book project that focuses on this topic as well, we agreed that this is really something that we need to do, that we need to share our experiences, and we need to remember those that we've lost. And really, for me, that's a big part of this project, too. This is in honor of them. So I will leave it at that. Any questions, I guess?
All right, thank you. And we have any questions for committee? Yes.
I'll just make a statement, and that's really nice that we're going to have opportunity to be a part of this because, you know, our tribes, you know, we set the greater society that unfortunately, you know, over a period of time, we've seen a great disconnect. For years, for us, we've seen that great disconnect in the bigger society because how they are even with each other. But then for Indian country, we've always been connected. We've always had community of some form. And, you know, especially even when we leave from here to go out of state somewhere as a group, and we're tight. We're a tight group, you know, and everything. And we watch out for each other. We kind of look over each other. But then this right here, unfortunately, created another disconnect for us because now all of a sudden, as a community of people that was always connected through community, now, well, that's a lot to deal with because now. That's how we always have thrived, and now we're beginning to do that again. That's just like Saturday, or yesterday here at the council house. You've seen all the people out there laughing and carrying on. People were just getting to see each other again, and so you know we're still a little timid though. We can see that there's still a tendency to be timid. So I think that's really nice. I'm glad that we were invited to be a part of this project. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Anyone else? Have any comments or questions? Anybody online has a comment or question?
Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
I would like to ask if the people that, when they did the oral questions to the people, to the citizens, did they agree that this could be used for anything, publishing a book out of the country?
Thank you for that question. That's an excellent question, actually. So yes, as a part of our oral history process, when we do these projects with our people, a very important part of that process is that we do we do get from these folks, prior even to the interview, we get a consent form signed from these individuals, so they are consenting to the interview. And then we also get what's called an oral history release form or oral history interview release form. And that form really spells out for the folks that once they do the interview with us, that we as the Muskogee Nation or the Historic and Cultural Preservation Department are now the owners of, or we have copyright, we own copyright to these interviews. And we do specifically spell out in the form various ways that we might use these interviews in the future. The individuals were all given an opportunity to review their interviews, their recorded interviews, and so they have had that opportunity. And I will say that with this particular project, nobody came back and wanted to edit anything or make any changes or change their mind about allowing us to have use of these interviews. So yes, that is a very important part of our oral history process.
Okay, thank you. And the other question, I guess, is I thought of Muskogee Media and many things that they have done. And we do have other people who publish books that are Creek citizens. And so I was wondering if you guys had even thought about reaching out to the Muskogee Media, because there is somebody on that board that's in Switzerland.
Well, first of all, we're unaware of, if you have a name for us, we would welcome a name. But you know, with this particular project, I mean, we didn't pick the publisher. Actually, the publisher came to the two professors who are co-editing the book. They actually came to them to ask them if they would like to put together a project to create this edited volume. But yeah, I don't really know. Do you have any?
Yeah, I don't think we ever thought of writing a book or a chapter, but it was an invitation. And I do think that it would be great to see a future Muskogee publishing business where we do publish our own books, and especially children's stories. I think there's a lot of need for us to tell our own stories and to write them, encourage our youth to do that. But yeah, I like your way of thinking about it. We just haven't, we just really completed the project in the last few months and got the invitation. So we're open to all aspects.
Okay, thank you. And I guess I know you've already done it, but as far as the AG, the Attorney General's office has looked at it, and what did they say about our sovereign immunity?
Yeah, let me find that. Yes, we did share the publisher's agreement with the Attorney General's office. We actually did that back in May. And so this was done by Shanna Bergen. And she was the one that suggested that we ask the publisher to either strike this particular statement that's talking about this agreement shall be governed by and construed in accordance with the laws of Switzerland. And so we spent several months actually trying to get an answer from the publishing company. Unfortunately, the representative that was working with us became very ill over the summer and ended up in the hospital for quite a while. But so we didn't get an answer back from him, I think, until June. But the response that we got back was that because this is an international publishing company, they're a publishing company that's been around for 170 years, and they focus on academic scholarly work. They have offices around the world. And so they deal on a daily basis with people from all over the world, so other sovereign countries and nations. And so because of that, they felt like they couldn't or they wouldn't change that language just for us. You know, and I think, I'm just going to say this too, because we had some conversations about this with the publishing representative. Not only is this a learning experience for us, because we have never been in this position of writing a chapter or writing a book to be published. And so I think it's a learning experience for all of us, but I think it's a learning experience for the publishing company too, because they've never dealt in this capacity with a tribal nation. And so for us to come back and say, hey, we need you to change this language for us because we are a sovereign nation, you know, that was something new for them, I think. But unfortunately, they did come back and say that they were not going to be able to change the language for us, and therefore we would need to come forward with what we're doing tonight, which is meeting with the National Council to waive our sovereignty in regard to this publishing agreement.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you, Representative Golden. Have any more comments or questions from the audience online or committee?
Mr. Chairman, this is Kyle. May I be heard briefly?
Yes, go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah. I can never recommend as counsel for the National Council that we waive our sovereignty. However, when you weigh whether you should or should not, I think you have to weigh the risk. As long as we are in control of the content of the paragraph that we have submitted, or the chapter rather, and we have all the appropriate waivers, which it appears we do, from the individuals who've contributed, I can't envision any potential risk or liability. As long as you trust the individuals, the publishers that are holding themselves out to honor the agreement, to do the things they say they're going to do, I cannot envision any risk of harm to the nation to which we would seek any kind of legal recourse, and most certainly whether we'd seek that recourse in another country. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Kyle. We appreciate your comments and your opinions on that. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote.
Galen Cloud,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Nelson Harjo.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. That motion passes.
No.
Thank you very much. Next item we have is TR 23-103, a tribal resolution of Muskego Creek Nation authorizing Principal Chief to execute a separate memorandum of understanding with 9 Oklahoma cities for the maintenance of roadways and associated rights-of-way constructed or improved by the Muskego Creek Nation Tribal Transportation Program. Sponsor is Joseph Hicks.
Chair, make a motion to pass.
Motion for D pass by Representative Hicks,
Second.
second by Representative Cloud. Discussion, yes.
Mr. David Ford.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, this is just joining in with a MOU for 9 cities. Just getting the agreement that we can work on these routes. Not saying we're going to at this time or they're up to be worked on now. We're just getting everything in order. If something comes up, we're allowed to without something can, whether it's a bridge or anything on there, just so we don't have to go through the long process. This is already just getting ahead of everything.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? Comments or questions from council online?
Chairman,
Yes, Representative Golden?
I have a question for Mr. Ford.
Go ahead, yes.
Mr. Ford, in Oklahoma County, there is a small city or town, Clearview, and at some time ago, I think they were asking Creek Nation to fix a bridge or something in the middle of their town. So this MOU would cover something like that? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, actually on that project, I'm working with USDA. There's a grant that Clearview has put in for, and we're going to do the labor for our part of the matching grant. So it's not going to cost the tribe nothing, not going to cost the city nothing. That is something that's coming up soon at Clairview.
Okay, thank you. I just thought that that's what, this kind of work, that's why you're doing these MOUs with these different towns.
Well, we are, but what I'm saying, some of them is not upcoming work, here, it might be 2 years from now. It's a long process getting it to this stage of it. But one in Clairview is an upcoming project. It's coming up in, I'm sure, the next month and a half. We're just trying to find time to get over there. The grant has been awarded.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, thank you, Representative Golden. Representative Harjo.
So basically, you're in the planning stage and before it goes to the inventory, and then from all that, then we'll get the monies later, then,
Exactly.
I got you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any more questions or comments from committee or council online? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Nelson Harjo.
Yes.
Galen Cloud.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passes. Next item we have is TR 23-104, a tribal resolution from Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute a separate memorandum of understanding with 6 Oklahoma counties for the maintenance of roadways and associated rights-of-way constructed or improved by the Muskogee Creek Nation Tribal Transportation Program. Sponsor is Charles McHenry.
Chair, I make a motion to do pass.
Motion for due pass by Representative McHenry,
Second.
second by Representative Cloud. Discussion.
This is basically the same thing, except it's routes outside of the city limits. This will all be agreements with the counties, 6 different counties. I think y'all have the list there in front of you.
Okay. Questions from committee? Questions from council online? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Nelson Harjo.
Yes.
Galen Cloud.
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. That motion passes. Next item we have is TR 23-105, a tribal resolution of Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing a principal chief to execute a separate memorandum of understanding with 3 Oklahoma schools for the maintenance of parking lots and associated rights-of-way constructed or improved by the Muskogee Creek Nation Tribal Transportation Program. Sponsor is Galen Cloud.
Chair, motion to do pass.
Motion for due pass by Representative Cloud, second by Representative Harjo. Discussion.
Yeah, these are just agreements for these schools. These 3 schools has came up on the list, so we're planning on helping them out. And some of them will be adding gravel to existing ones. Other will be paving extra parking lots.
Okay.
That's basically it on them.
All right, thank you. Questions from committee? Questions from council online? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Galen Cloud.
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Nelson Harjo.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. That motion passes. Next item we have is TR 23-106, a tribal resolution of Muskogee Creek Nation approving the update of the Muskogee Creek Nation Long Range Transportation Plan with the addition of the routes listed as Attachment A in Muskogee Creek Nation NTTFI 2024. Sponsors Charles McHenry.
Chair, make a motion to do pass.
Motion for due pass by Representative McHenry, seconded by Representative Hicks. Discussion.
This is to add these 64 total routes to the long-range transportation plan.
Okay. Questions from committee? Questions, council online? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Nelson Harjo,
Yes.
Galen Cloud,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. That motion passes. Next item we have is TR 23-107, a tribal resolution of Muscogee Creek Nation supporting the addition of new routes as identified in Attachment A, MCN NTTFI 2024, to the nation's existing National Tribal Transportation Facility inventory and requesting the Bureau of Indian Affairs add these new routes to the nation's National Tribal Transportation Facility inventory. Sponsor is Joseph Hicks.
Chair, make a motion to pass.
Motion for due pass by Representative Hicks,
Second.
second by Representative Cloud. Discussion.
This is the same 64 routes. This is it, just to put it on our inventory.
All right, thank you. Questions from committee? Questions, council online? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Nelson Harjo,
Yes.
Galen Cloud.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passes. All right, thanks, sir. Next item we have is NCA 23-121, a law of Muscogee Creek Nation authorizing the expenditure of grant funds awarded from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for the benefit of the Office of Environmental Services. Sponsors Galen Cloud.
Chair, make a motion to do pass.
Motion for due pass by Representative Cloud, second by Representative Hicks. Discussion. Williams.
Yes, good evening, council. This is a grant that we just applied for and received from the EPA. It's a climate pollution reduction grant, $400,000. This is the first step in a stages of some climate money that's available out there. It's a 2-year grant. They give us $400,000, and it's for the reduction of the pollution due to climate change, various ways. We'll have to contract somebody out. Most of this is for a contractual event. We're going to see what's going on across the nation. We're so close to Tulsa. That's almost an environmental issue to our folks that live around the Tulsa area and that surrounding area. So that's the areas that we're of greatest concern. If we can show a need, there's some larger money waiting for us if we can get through this 2-year grant cycle here, and then we can say, well, here's the things we need to look at. So we're getting an air monitoring grant from the EPA, which I hadn't got yet. I was expecting that already, but that's some big money too, and this is all going to tie in together. So we're looking forward to it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Questions from committee? Questions from council online? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Galen Cloud,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Nelson Harjo.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. That motion passes. Next item we have is NCA 23-122, a law of Muscogee Creek Nation authorizing the expenditure of grant funds awarded from the United States Department of the Interior for the benefit of the Office of Environmental Services. Sponsors Joseph Hicks.
Chair, make a motion to pass.
Motion for due pass by Representative Hicks,
Second.
second by Representative Cloud. Discussion.
Yes, this also is a grant that we applied for and received. Wasn't too many tribes that got this grant, but we live in an area that had oil exploration earlier in the early turn of the century. And when they got done, they just pretty much pulled everything out and just left the piping and everything in the ground, which emits some methane gas. And so we got this award for just a little short of $1 million. This is a couple-year grant. If we can show that there is still orphan wells out there on our properties, and we know that there is, because just the property that the tribes own in Muskogee, where the BIA building that we own sits, there's 17 orphan wells out there. So that's just on one property. So we're in an area that there's going to be all over the place, and we're going to get some machinery. We're going to hire 2 new people with this grant to be in our office, and with the help of Miss Kendra, we're going to go out there and see if we can assess, and then the big money comes in 2 years, because that's when the money starts at $5 million. To pull these out of the ground, or even, which I hadn't thought of, but we've been to some meetings, and there's some ways that you can, if it's close enough to some buildings like we have over there, we can do some geothermal out of those pipes that's already in there, if it'll take it. So there's 4 or 5 things we can do with this, but this is awful good, and we're pleased that we got this. Like I say, there's not very many tribes that got this, but we're in an area that has old oil well production from way back when. And there's an area that's just on the other side of our border, which is the Seminoles, and Seminoles didn't get that. They didn't apply for it. But they have a big need like we do too, and we're hoping that we can help some of them out too. Maybe assess some of their stuff, and then kind of carry them in with us, because that's a big thing too. So we're awful pleased to get that grant.
All right, thank you. Have any questions from committee? Any questions from council online? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Nelson Harjo.
Yes.
Galen Cloud.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. That motion passes.
Ooh.
All right, thank you. Next item we have is NCA 23-123. Allow Muskogee Creek Nation amending NCA Title 38, Chapter 3, entitled Tribal Driveways Program. Sponsors Galen Cloud.
Chair, make a motion to do pass.
Motion for do pass by Representative Cloud.
Second.
Second by Representative Hicks. Discussion.
Good evening, everybody. The 3 different changes of the guidelines of the program, which the first one is the maximum amount allowed to spend on any given project. The original amount was set back when I can remember, when the program was originally started, So that's been a while. But as everybody knows, everything's went up. So, and really, this amount here really affects the cement projects that are required cement within the city of Tulsa or Omogi, some place that actually require cement. That's really where this is going to make the difference. We do have some of the, I say longer ones, but like I said, with the things that went up are not necessarily any longer. It's just taking more money to do it, because when the program started, say like gravel, we was paying like $125, $150 a load. You can't even buy gravel for that amount now. It's over $200 just for gravel for a load. So overall, everything just kind of went up. But the biggest difference where that's going to make it, the difference is in like the cement projects, and not so much the gravel projects, which we do run across a few of the gravel projects that's real long. That takes a lot more, So it will help a few of them, but not like the cement projects. Like I said, that original amount's been there since 95. So of course 95, that was a lot of money, but now it's not compared to how things have changed. On the second change, it's just something that we run across, that we're asking to have a clause in there that you have to be living there at least 6 months. Some people just think you're going to be right there as soon as they move into a new house, not necessarily a new built house, just new to them, and it doesn't work out that way. And like I tell people, if you're familiar with any of the tribal programs, there's always a waiting list. We get them done as quick as we can. So that kind of gives us a little breathing room to where, You know, they think you're gonna be right there as soon as they move in, and that's not the fact. Or you know, it's not gonna happen. Not most of the time. Occasionally it will, but not all the time. And it kind of just gives us something to fall back on to say, hey, you're gonna have to wait a bit before we get to you. And it kind of falls in with the third one that, let's see here, you're eligible once every 4 years. Now, that's already in there, but what we're asking to add in there is if you have been serviced once within 5 years, that you're no longer a priority, which it does have leeway in here that if it is deemed a washout, our priority, yes, we will do it. But because we have some people that 4 years on the nose, and it's some of the older folks, and going by the priority list, it puts them back to the top again on top of somebody that has yet to been serviced. So that gives us something to fall back on and say, hey, you're going to have to wait, you know, and stuff like that. That's kind of where that 5-year clause falls in there. And that's really the biggest changes that I can see that we need right now. That would be it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Have any questions from committee? Any questions on the changes? No questions? Any questions from council online? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Galen Cloud,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yeah.
Nelson Harjo.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. That motion passes.
Thank you.
Jimmy? That concludes the order of business. Now we in other business. Have any items in other business? Down to announcements. One announcement that we have is HEW tomorrow at 2 p.m. And then we're down to our benediction and adjournment. And I'd like to ask Representative Cloud to give us a benediction. We'll serve as our adjournment.
Sure. Paidi hanyuari butki halwe alegitsat. Uzunetda hanyuari omogidat tutkalgiat jindu jejidundo nagi omogada hanyo bumititsa marata madu da jigeji dundui. Mogiat hanyuari istimuskogi nagi des infratveziat nagi de inhita hana marata hijin takwili dundunduezen nagi punyiksin bunhagi dundunduezen labotkin tahijin fully dundundui marata pun hiditsin ingi arswayersin nagi omogada pun nukeza marata pun yiksuza jinwayersin Jimmy dundundui marata omogada hanyuari mamaka gohuen.
7:13.